Meow to everyone. Sadly, we couldn't get many people who were bold enough to take on this topic or could. So we tried.
Mm,
Poor Raquel, because this is not exactly Raquel's favorite topic here, I'm sure.
no.
She's trying to be a team player, and I appreciate that. I do. And she has a new avatar, a kitty cat, a Dragon Ball
Hmm.
kitty,
Yeah, Dragon Ball
Dragon Ball
Kitty.
kitty cat Z. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, it's my avatar of Kafla from Dragon Ball Super and my cat Pumpkin, all combined. So
That is
thank
so
you.
cute.
It is really cute. I love the candy. And you see Deborah. Uh, yeah, Deborah. I think.
Is that a statue behind him? Her?
No, no, no. It's a character. I think Deborah. I'm forgetting his name. Yeah. Cookie. You get candy cane. You get a lollipop, a chocolate bar, and a little candy corn.
That is cute. They snuck candy corn in because
Oh,
I do
and
believe that candy corn has been somewhat like an I forget what they call it. An interesting topic the last few Halloweens. Can
and the cat is sitting on the Nimbus cloud.
you explain what that means to people who do not know?
And Nimbus cloud is like I guess you could say it's a transporter, like from
Oh,
A
okay.
to B, but only pure-hearted people can ride it.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to stay here and take a Uber.
Hey, potato.
Hello, potato, and hello to Magnum Mac. Let's see. He said, "All right, let me go back up here real quick." So Magnum Mac says this topic should be interesting. I remember watching this guy the night take his 90-year-old grandpa to the suicide center. You're, where was this? They already had a center years ago. Oh my. Nobody else seemed phased by it. Yeah, that's kind of weird. People do kind of accept the world in front of them sometimes. Hey, Captain MKG, is this the kind of topic that would interest you in talking about? That came out a bit more Canadian than I had anticipated. Whoops. But anywho, yeah, I don't know how I got on fancy a third guest. If you can be chill, not go off topic, and crack weird jokes at inappropriate times, because I was trying to talk about something last time, and you kind of went off the rails a little bit because like assisted suicide is like it's not something to go like silly over. So if you can hold yourself together and not be too hyper, yes. Oops, that is the wrong fucking thing right there. That's a Facebook group. I'm sitting there trying to copy and paste for some reason apparently. Oi, so hold on. You'll treat us with quiet dignity and respect, with some young Frankenstein humor just ever slightly. So, now, right, sorry, I had to sort that out. Oh, there's a wee potato. Hello there, wee potato.
Owos?
Hey, potato.
Hey. Yeah, no, I'm seeing all the stuff from Europe, so thought that might be interesting to you.
Her. Because, like, some of it I can kind of understand. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, so hold on. Let me see. Is this the. Yes. All right. So let me go back over here and share screen because, you know, visual. So I saw this. I forget how I even got into this, but for some reason I looked it up to I guess check the laws. I forget how it started. It's weird. I was wondering if assisted suicide was protected under like freedom of religion if your religion allowed such a thing. Because I was kind of wondering, and so it led me down this mess. And I'm like, huh. And so it says over the past month, when was this article done? Okay, it was revised July 12th of this year. Okay, so sorry, I kind of I kind of breathed in my soup earlier, and I'm still kind of feeling the effects of that. Sorry. Over the past month, Alliance Defending Freedom has taken legal action to combat the expansion of access to physician assisted suicide and defend physicians from being compelled to facilitate their patient's death. Which, I mean, I can get that. In California, a group of Christian physicians sued the state over a law that required doctors to participate in physician assisted suicides against their religious convictions and professional ethics. In Massachusetts, ADF, no, oh, Alliance Defending Freedom. Okay, that's what that is. Participated in an oral argument in support of Massachusetts law that prohibits physician-assisted suicide. So let me come back over here and chat for a second on that. Oh, hey, Banging Gears, what's up? Hey, Bone.
Hey, Bone.
Hello to you. Hello to you. And then jump right back up to yeah. It is, but I think there is some discussion to be had. But I think a lot of it is going to boil down to that. I get it. I mean, I'm very pro-life. When I say that, I mean, like, I'm actually even against the death penalty, and the idea of killing anybody, like, is kind of upsetting to me. But I understand if doctors don't want to participate in that. I mean, I'm sure there are other doctors who have no problem being able to, or at least less of a problem. I'd like to think they had some problem with it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's creepy. But more able to accommodate. There we go. More able to accommodate the request. But I don't think any doctor should be forced to kill their patient.
There's a weird thing going on in Europe with this. When you say be forced to kill the patient, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but the thing is, it's technically, now this is the weird ethics thing. Technically, they're not killing the patient. So what happens over this side is there's a capsule. If you want to Google it in the background, 3D printed assisted suicide capsule. So yeah, it's it looks like a race car, and
how cute in an odd way.
yeah, but people are saying that this is giving people too much. You can do it yourself, like, but in my own way, if it's an elderly person, I think that if they're in a lot of pain, they should be allowed to, like, go to the beach, go to the side of somewhere like that, somewhere beautiful.
Right.
But so what happens is you have two buttons or two triggers, right?
Yeah,
You
sorry,
have
I
one-
heard something weird. But yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you have one to let
Triggers.
everyone know. It's like, okay, I push this, the first half the gas goes in, then the thing locks, you're essentially in your coffin. Then the second one is the mixture of the chemicals mixing together, which then combines within the capsule to end you.
So it's like a gas chamber. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're self-imposed inside of a gas
The chemicals
chamber.
shouldn't be that confusing. Honestly, something that would be cheap and easy. I know it sounds
They
terrible.
are cheap
but-
and easy. This is why they're saying it's given more to more people. If you get me,
Right. I feel like there should be some hoops that one has to jump through for such a thing. I think
There
they
should
have
be,
to talk to a
because
therapist for at least a month or two.
this is
I feel like terminal illness is important in that, but I
Mhm.
mean not always, because if you look at it from a different angle, we're saying it's okay to basically like just let the elderly and the ill be killed off. That sounds
Yeah.
terrible if you look at it from
Can-
the same thing from a different angle, you know.
yeah.
But it's got 100% be the patient's choice. It can never
It
be something
does.
the doctor suggests. It can never be something that the family is trying to push, because some people are really fucked up and will push their family into doing something like that so they can take their inheritance, you know? They're
Yeah,
fucking
in
sickos.
in
So it's always
Sweden,
got to be something that is absolutely 100% for sure.
yeah,
And if we can't necessarily discriminate on age. I mean, kind of, because I don't want 10-year-olds doing that. That's just fucking weird. But, oh, hold on. We got another guest as well. Nice. Oh, and welcome, Daniel. All right. Hello, Captain MKG.
hey Captain, go see you again.
See you too.
So,
Hello.
let me loop this back up just in case y'all didn't see it. Let me find out where is that page? Oh, there it is. Okay. So, yeah. It's a page talking about now something I've heard about, and I don't know if they currently have it, but I've heard them talking about it, was making assisted suicide easier in Canada for depression, which I think I really feel like maybe they should just spend the money trying to help alleviate the
happened-
symptoms of depression, because sometimes you can't cure it.
No, that's
Then,
happened
but
in Sweden and Belgium, where a 17-year-old girl and a 27-year-old woman both ended their own lives due to depression.
see, that's terrible, and I feel like they should have been
No,
given some really awesome drugs
they
instead of that
should be,
option. But
but
yeah, but if somebody's going to do it, they're going to do it. They always have. And I
mhm,
actually, like after a few minutes, I actually pulled up statistics on what happened with failed suicide attempts. So I kind of want to jump into that as well because that's what the kind of the argument in favor of it, sort of a thing. Because you know, but all right, since Daniel popped on after you, so he was the next in line. Daniel,
yeah,
do you want to add your like point of view on whether or not like if you've I mean you don't have to talk about if you've ever attempted it, but if you're
Uh,
going to or if someone is affected by suicide, the
well,
pros and cons.
yeah, you know what? I talked to my psychologist and she asked me if I ever thought about suicide, and I said no, never. I would never commit suicide. I mean, once you do that, it's game over, right? Um,
They say that.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that, no matter how bad it is. And believe me, it's pretty bad. You know, I mean, I've had it
Right.
since 2012, and it doesn't get any better. And yeah, I think I told a few people what I've been through, you know, and just like, just no. I mean, I wouldn't do that, and I just, yeah, it is pretty hard. You know,
Right.
so
I respect your opinion. I do request that anybody on here, I'm not trying to silence your freedom of expression, but I do request that you not refer to people who have committed suicide or attempted it as cowards, though. I have heard that term. And I actually, in my opinion, I feel that things have to be really horrible for someone to be willing to do that. And I don't think they're cowards for that. So just to cover that base, though. But like y'all can talk about like how describe your pro or against it any other way. But I just would request that just for the future, just cover the bases, not to call anyone who's dealt with that a coward. Because that argument has made me so mad before. It really has because there are people who have suffered PTSD from all sorts of horrible things that have happened to them and things they've
mhm.
seen, and calling a person a coward for not wanting to live with that is kind of cruel, I think, and insensitive. But all right. So Captain NKG.
So I've never myself considered, you know, suicide in any way, shape, or form. And for me to follow up on what your comment was saying, um, I don't think anybody is a coward. My thing is, I am a coward about it. Like I do not say it lightly, but I'm just too much of a coward to go there.
I can
So
understand that. I the idea of it scares the crap out of me because even though we're here, we know what we're getting. We don't know what's waiting, and
mhm.
that's the scariest thing. And so I totally feel you on that.
Right. So again, again, in light of your recent declaration there just a minute ago, I just wanted to clarify. It's not to anyone else. It's just something I put
Oh
on
yeah,
myself.
that's
So,
fair. Yeah,
um,
if you're describing how you feel about yourself, that is fine. Yeah, I'm not going to tell someone they can't do that.
okay.
But if someone is ever coming to this channel, sees this stream, I don't want them to feel like they're being personally attacked for what they're going through. That I don't think they. Yeah,
I
this
agree. And oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
because
I don't
they
want
have
to
to
go in.
emotionally be in a really bad place for that.
I don't want
And
to
for
go.
what? Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying I don't want to go into it, but I've tried.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Let me
I
turn
said
this
I
up a
don't want
little
to
bit.
really go into it, but I've tried.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I had to turn up the volume so I can hear correctly because there's people talking in the other room. But uh, let's see. I'm not sure what to ask on that one. Is there anything you would like to elaborate on that?
Um,
Like if you don't want to say what was going on in your life, you can just say it was bad stuff. That's fine because we're trying to.
essentially, I lost one friend after another, after another, after another. Like, it seemed that every single time I went online, someone was gone. It's like, then I got a phone call, and it's like, in one day, I lost two cousins.
Oh man.
Yeah, both of them had severe lung conditions. Mother and her son, they were they were like the son was in his 40s and the mother was in her 60s. But it then I was in lockdowns and just didn't seem that I was trapped. Like there was nowhere I could go, and that at the time seemed to be the only escape. And but the weird thing is, it's not like, oh, I'm going to do it at 3 o'clock tomorrow. It's like it's essentially like, right, I'm going to have my dinner and go do this, watch a movie. Screw it, that's it. It's nearly an
Sorry.
unbreakable compulsion. You can,
Sorry.
if this makes sense, your brain
Yes.
feels wrong. When you're getting that, it's like your brain feels wrong, but thank God I've got due to the condition I was born with, I've got a very sensitive stomach, and everything I put in me came back out.
Oof.
Yeah, but I've been left with a slight nerve condition where my right hand has a slight shake, and my little finger, it takes me extra effort to open it now. But yeah, it's
Was that from
Weird.
an attempt?
yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just
Um,
wanted to clarify. Okay.
yeah, it feels like one nerve, like some of the nerves going down one side of my body, I can feel them are weaker. And I've said to my friends, like, I miss being strong and things like that. But it's really weird because your brain does not feel right. It feels woozy. Every single thing in your brain, you're tunnel focused, and nothing seems right. Like the television, your friends, the dogs, everything seems fake. At that moment, there is nothing real.
I think that's referred to as disassociation.
Yeah.
Dissociative disorder, something similar to that. I don't remember the exact pronunciation.
Mhm.
But there's times when I have felt like I'm looking at my hands, but I don't feel like I'm connected to my body for a second, and I'm just kind of like,
It's literally like that. But
yeah, that is a weird ass feeling. To feel that all the time
it's
or
terrifying.
more than a few seconds is unimaginable. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I,
But
I'm sending you hugs.
thank you. But I'm a lot better now.
Good, glad to hear it.
Honestly, like I've got a great support network. My best friend has threatened to murder me.
Sorry. Wait.
Yeah, if I did I again, she's
Oh,
threatened to murder me.
If you do that again, I'll feel okay. I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
I
like,
was wondering why you were
I'm
laughing
going
saying that. I was like, what?
no, she's like, I'm going to kill you. But the
All right.
fact of the matter is, it's weird. It's like you're hyper aware of your own body, your own right, but the world seems fake. It's the opposite way to, oh, my hands are fake. Instead of my hands are extra real, the world is fake. But yeah, but afterwards it's like I'm scared of what is going to happen if I got somewhere
Yeah, you
at
start
the
to kind
same
of question
time.
everything.
Yeah, but I can easily see it is from being there. People, it doesn't make sense calling them cowards because you're not coward because it's almost as if you're having a severe addiction. If you get me, I
You feel
need
kind
to
of drawn
do
to it.
this. Yeah,
All right, I got you.
yeah. So
I think people say that because they've heard it before. And I think it's almost like like the equivalent of telling someone to man up. I think it's like a bully tactic to get them to not do something you don't want them to do. And so, but I think it's carried over into people just saying that about other people. And like,
hmm
yeah, that going off into the unknown is very frightening. It's really hard to imagine. I mean, there might be instances where someone does off themselves and it's cowardly, like if they killed their family and set the house on fire and they ran from the cops and they knew the cops were going to get them, they did that to avoid going to jail. Like I could see that. Like I could see where that would come into play instead of facing what they done. But
yeah,
like for people who are like emotionally tortured by stuff, yeah, I think that's like a shitty like response a lot of people have had that I've heard them say, and I'm just like, wow, I hope you never are in charge of those hotlines. Holy crap,
Yeah.
dude.
Fire, going back to something you said earlier, there's a statistic I have never looked into, but I have always wondered about. The suicide, the suicide rate on death row.
Oh, they probably, you know what, that's a tough one. They probably have, they're supposed to have protocols in place to stop prisoners from doing that in general. And if they do, they're supposed to be taken to the medical floor where they are basically stripped down and like a particular, like a jacket or just like a shirt is left on
Yeah.
them. And yeah, Oklahoma County, it's really hard to say because like I live not far from Oklahoma County Jail. And if you look it up, they are absolutely notorious for people committing suicide and dying under suspicious circumstances in there. And I mean, you usually end up with 15 or 20 sometimes prisoners dead in a year every year, and
That is fucked.
no guard ever gets in trouble for it. So that's what I'm used to seeing and hearing. So theoretically, they're supposed to have protocols in place. One lady supposedly hung herself and killed herself with those little things that looks like a payphone with that little metal cord. And the guard was supposed to be right outside, but she made like one of your like calls home or whatever, and supposedly she hung herself there. Supposedly,
That don't make sense because
it
I've
does
seen those
not. It does not make
being
sense.
ripped off the wall by one hand.
Yeah, and it. I mean, it's not even a very tall phone. You know, they're like like how do you? There's not enough cord to wrap around correctly.
No.
Like that's just fucking weird. So, but yeah, they get away with it every year. Like if you ever look up Oklahoma County jail deaths, you're gonna see a whole lot of Google results. You're gonna be like, oh my god. You might as well just pick a year. Be like 2022, 2021. You pick a year. It'll make the search easier. Honestly, it's
Mhm.
pretty bad over there, and yeah, nobody wants to really do anything about it because for the most part, people here seem to think that everybody who's in jail deserves whatever happens to them, even though a lot of them are actually just in jail because they can't afford bail while waiting for trial. There are a lot of them that go.
And a
Weirdly
lot
enough,
of them.
nobody on death row that I've heard of has committed suicide. Haven't heard about that.
That is
Oddly.
weird.
Well, I guess they're keeping an extra close eye on them. I don't know. So, or maybe
Yeah.
they're not in a rush to punish them because they know theirs is coming anyway. So I don't know. But yeah, hold on. Hi, Optic. How are you? Hugs to you, Digital Pollution. Hello, Ronnie. Yeah. Hold on. Let me go back to looking at this article. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, there's a group in California of Christian physicians that sued the state over the law that required them to participate. Now, I really feel that this is an odd situation because there has got to be some doctors who can cope with helping assist in such things. So I really don't feel that they should ever force a doctor into doing that. I feel like it's very weird to do. But yeah, I'm glad that they sued. Let me see. Did they actually win the case? The case is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, it doesn't mention if they actually won or not. I hope they did. Tip of the iceberg is ongoing effect.
May I ask an opinion on this? Do you think that the doctors who are like, okay, I'll help you end things, are nearly a version of pro-choice?
I think so in a way. I think so. Because this is my opinion. This is not to get a whole different debate route up.
No. I'm just
If you
talking.
can be pro-choice about an unborn baby being terminated, I mean, helping someone who says yes, I would like to opt out of this. I mean, at least that's the person's giving the consent, you know. So I feel like that makes actually better sense
Yeah.
in a way if being pro-choice, because that person, they're able to speak or communicate in some way and say, yeah, I'm tired of this crap. I'm done with it. I would like to leave. Please, can you give me some good drugs to do this? And at least then that person has the consent that this is what they prefer. So I I could be more okay with something like this than sorry, hairball. I mean, I do understand there are medical emergencies that happen for baby termination. I get that, but like I think it would be easier in a way like if I was to assist somebody that in some way, like take him to the doctor to do this or something, for instance, if it was somebody who's already been alive and lived what they could and just they're not going to get any better and they're in pain, like I would still be upset about it, but at least the person, because consent is a huge thing with me, huge. And so if at least the person is able to communicate that that's what they want and they're sure of it and they've been sure for a while, and because people have been killing themselves for a long time, like since forever, people have.
Yeah.
And like if they're going to do it, like you at least want to make sure it was done comfortably, correctly, because I also pulled up statistics on what happens to people when it fails. And hold on. I'm gonna share. I had to unshare to share again because I had it where it was set just on the page I was on, not the whole screen itself. So hold on. So all right. So here we are.
Hold on, Daniel, your icon has gone on the YouTube side.
Oh, biscuits! You'll have to change avatar to then change it back to fix it. It's usually what I have to do. Let's see. Outcomes. So, all right. Suicide attempts can result in serious and permanent injuries or disabilities. 700,000 or more Americans survived a suicide attempt each year. Holy crap, that's a lot. People who attempt either hanging or carbon monoxide poisoning and survive can face permanent brain damage due to cerebral anoxia, lack of oxygen. People who take drug overdoses can face severe organ damage. Individuals who jump from high up and survive may face irreversible damage to multiple organs as well as spine and brain. While a majority sustain injuries that allow them to be released following emergency room treatment, a significant minority of about 116,000 are hospitalized, of whom 110 are eventually discharged while still alive. The average hospital stay is 79 days, and some 89,000 of these people are permanently disabled from the attempt. And that's a sad and frightening thought, because whatever problems they were dealing with probably just got worse. And if depending on their disability, they may not be able to end it.
Yeah.
And now they probably have even more reason to want to end it than they did before. Or they might not, and they've got to do lease on life in a way. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, each person is going to be different, I'm certain.
During Men's Mental Health Awareness Month on TikTok, this woman showed that her boyfriend tried to hang himself but failed. Right? And she said, someone's like, how's he now? And she turned around and she said, 2 years later, and I'm going to say this, I wish he had succeeded. And you'd see him lying in a bed with his head turned aside, completely and utterly on the ventilator, like hands, he was unresponsive and everything. She said, I think that he should have done it, she said, because the financial toll that's left behind while he's in this state, she said, mentally he's gone. Like, there's barely activity. And she said, mentally he's gone. I wish he had succeeded.
I mean, I personally would just wish that he hadn't done it at all. I mean, I think that would have sounded more positive, but I get what she's saying, because that does take an emotional and financial toll, because hospital bills are insane here. So, yeah. But yeah, that is sorry. That is like really sad. And these 89,000, I'm guessing it's 89,000 a year. Seems like an awful high number, but yikes. But that's a lot of people to be injured permanently from attempting suicide, where if they had someone to go talk to and they were sure about the process, because they didn't explain necessarily why the people did it. They just did. Whether it was depression, a breakup, terminal illness, loneliness, whatever. They didn't really explain those. So those are all obviously going to be a case-by-case basis, obviously. But Yeah, but if they made something like to where people could end it if they wanted and do it carefully and efficiently, it would probably save some suffering. I mean, the families would suffer even still because the family member would be gone. In particular, the case of the 89,000 people, that's 89,000 families that are devastated because that person is no longer the same anymore. So, like, yeah,
There's so I watch a lot of filmmakers and that on YouTube, and one of the guys works with the New Zealand Mental Health Association. That's his real world job, if you will.
right.
And he said what's a big issue since it came out is 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, see, and that is definitely why you're going to want to have therapists and loopholes you have to jump to make sure some silly teenager doesn't do this because of a fucking trend. Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, because did you watch the show?
No, I heard of it, but
I watched
something to do
it.
with a girl who killed herself, and I think she left like some audio tapes behind or something.
She glorified it. The whole show.
I
glorified it.
heard that's what it was, but again, I didn't watch it, so I can't say if that's my take on it. But apparently,
Yeah.
a lot of people did get that feeling.
Yeah.
I did see that,
And
but
after that, it spiked a lot. It spiked a large trend in teen girls, which after. So I was looking into a few different things a few years ago, and now whenever I make a friend or anything like that, I always check on them, make sure that they're okay, because you don't know if someone doesn't have someone to talk to throughout the day.
right.
So I'm like, hey, you okay? How's
Oh,
things?
and a lot of people are afraid to talk about because the way our system handles it.
Mm.
Because in Canada, they're apparently entirely too eager to help you out with this. And
Oh,
here in
God.
America, they will throw you in jail like a criminal or lock you up like you're going to go on a murder spree. You know, that's, yeah, people are afraid of getting locked up like Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 and having some weirdo lick their face while they're tied to a bed. Like, no, we can't, if someone is thinking about killing themselves, we can't make them scared to talk about that. But they do. Yeah, because you automatically are ready to say no if you go to a hospital and they ask that. You automatically say no, even if it's not true. And just because you're thinking about it doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. Like, but you end up afraid to even say yes. I have thought about it because they will instantly be like treat you
Into
like
psychiatrics.
they'll treat you like a 5-year-old running with scissors instantly, and you're just like, ah, great, here come the arm floaties and the helmet.
Yeah.
Great, you know,
One
and
of- One of the things that I absolutely hate about the medical field is, like I've seen doctors doing it to people, is they threaten to put you under a 72-hour psychiatric hold where your belt's taken away, your shoes are taken away, your underwear is taken away.
some
Yeah,
people must be very creative. Wow.
they have been apparently, but I don't think so. I think some of it's a humiliation tactic.
It might be. I mean, I hope not, but I mean, it could be. There are some people who
Yeah.
just should not be in the line of work they're in. I'll say that.
Oh
But,
yeah, definitely.
But here in America, like it's like, yeah, well, I mean, some states might be okay, but as a whole, America is really bad about mental health. I mean, terrible about it. Like they keep raising money, and yet they get nothing fucking done at all. They think that a little bit of money they throw at it's going to fix the problem, and they can't seem to break down the whatever barrier there is and have a decent conversation because most people again are afraid they're going to either be told they're looking for attention or they're going to be treated like a self-destructive 5-year-old.
Mm.
Oh, Isaac, you get wild. Usually for a 72-hour hold here you have to exhibit some kind of behavior and like family members or police officers attest to it for a 72-hour hold. Usually, and I actually had to look this up because of somebody's husband was kind of nuts. And we were thinking about ways to like help her get away from him. And so I was looking up our laws here in Oklahoma, and at best we would probably get a 24, maybe a 48-hour hold. Maybe. That's a huge maybe, though. If we couldn't prove anything too outrageous, they wouldn't even bother. And that would
Yeah.
suck, because if you try to get that ball rolling and it falls short, you're like, ooh, awkward. Yeah. So,
Over this side of the world, if you go into your doctor, right, and you mention anything like just say, "Oh, I feel like I'm going to do it today," or when I go home, you will be put into a 72-hour psychiatric hold with an option to extend, because the medical officers, if they have, it's called the suicidality clause or something like that, if they feel that you're going to do away with yourself, they will lock you away, which is where a lot of these threats come from, because it's the doctor saying it.
Right.
It's
well,
like, oh
that would
yeah,
definitely carry some weight. Yes.
yeah,
So here, yeah, it's possible you get a 72-hour hold with the doctor signing off. It's possible. I think it depends on what he says to the hospital. But one of my concerns, there's many concerns here, is that they're going to take it far, kind of like with the girl who was depressed at 17. Most 17-year-olds are depressed. I mean, I'm not trying to say that hers is less important than someone else's. I'm certainly not. But statistically, usually people do somewhat recover from their teen years. Or, in my case, you get used to it. But the point is that, it's got to be something that the doctors are going to try to at least stand in the way a little bit, not facilitate too much. Doctors, I swear, they seem to be either completely for or completely against something, and hardly anything in between. And they're going to end up doing all kinds of weird stuff. Because here in America, I'm really am surprised that America has such a strong stance against this. Honestly, because we basically leave people to die. Like if they don't want, they can refuse any further treatments. Which, I mean, I get that. When my dad was taking chemo, he was so sick of the ulcers in his mouth and the sore skin and the scabs on his scalp. He was so sick of all of it. There was times when he could only eat like ice chips, and he was so fucking tired of it. He decided to stop the chemo. He was sick of it, and so like up close, I have seen that people can just get tired of being sick, and it's hard on everyone. And here we also, I really strongly, and somebody is going to eventually see this and take like exception to this and be pissed, and they can be pissed. I don't give a shit. I am absolutely convinced that a lot of times with hospice care, they kill the patient. They hurry up and expedite the death by drugging them. I have every reason to believe that, and that's something we'll get into another time. But I absolutely believe that. So I think it's the word suicide that gets people freaked out. I think they start using the term end of life care, which sounds so
yeah,
much more friendly and classy. Which, I mean, fair enough to that. But I mean, label it how you will. But if America is not really saying anything about people, getting drugged up and dying in hospice, and not even be able to be awake to say goodbye to their family before they pass away, and we, you know, understand that people wanted to stop treatment and we let them do it. I don't see how much different it is between letting someone to stop treatment and letting them decide when they want to die. I don't see there's a huge jump right there. Really, there isn't. Because, I mean, it's very easily they can go home and, give themselves carbon monoxide poisoning if they want to. I mean,
yeah. The old tale
I mean
of
that would be relatively painless, I'm certain. I mean, I'm not
yeah,
encouraging
it's
anybody to do that. We're not condoning that in any way,
no,
obviously. I just want to say that so nobody tries to come at me sideways. Hold on a second. Oh, God, that scares the crap out of me. Oh. See, yeah, the stuff like that. People yeah, we need to do a lot with our mental health system. We really do. And I know there's good people out there who volunteer and try to make things better, but it's just unfortunately not yet enough. But I think I think that, like I said, it seems like with a lot of doctors and people in general, they'll either go all the way one way or all the way the other. So it's like, instead of being in between where you can understand if somebody is like terminally ill, they're not going to get better. The cancer has spread everywhere and they're just sick of the pain. They're sick of the port being in their shoulders. They're fucking sick of it. And letting them go peacefully, however they choose to, and just letting them go home to die, like I said, it's not really that much of a jump. You're just making things a little easier for them. I did read like a small snippet of someone's stories almost a year ago, I think, sometime maybe this year. I don't know what country it was in, but this girl apparently she had brain cancer, and like there's just no saving the situation. Like it was bad. Like she could still like walk and talk. Like it hadn't progressed that much yet. So apparently she went to her doctor and decided. I think she was like 17 or 18. I don't know. Something. If she, I think she was under 21. I feel certain of, but not by much. Um, just to give it slight context. And apparently the doctor gave her like one or two pills. I guess I don't know what they were made out of, but I guess it was specifically for this sort of thing. And so she told her friends, and they set up a little house party. So everybody was hanging out, eating, having something to drink. Everybody was listening to music, dancing around. And she went around, and after a little while, and started giving everybody hugs and was chatting with all of them. And then said goodbye and went upstairs. And I think her parents were with her. And she passed away within the hour. And I mean, someone's going to have terminal, like brain cancer, and they're going to go. That sounds like the most peaceful, like, great way to go. You know, hanging out with all your friends, being able to choose. So, I mean, I can respect and understand that. I mean, honestly, it's really more sad that the poor girl didn't have much other choice. I think, is the saddest part of that. But
I have a question about what about, because you're talking about like painful terminal illness, right?
well, I mean,
What about
I don't know if she was in any pain, but I mean,
no? I'm just saying. But what about someone with severe intellectual difficulties who has a very
ooh,
painful terminal illness? So they themselves don't have the mental capability, as it was, to already communicate. Does
I read about 3 years ago. I read a story about that, and people absolutely so on social media ripped this mom apart. So the kid was born with issues,
yeah,
like never could speak, never could walk, was always in pain. I think the kid might have been about 15 or 16 when this happened. So the mother had been taking care of his kid for 15, 16 years, I think. So it's not like she just bailed out first chance she got. Like she dedicated many years to this, and she was in a country I think that allowed euthanasia, and she took that option. And people on the internet ripped her apart. And that one's a tricky one because it's possible that even though the person may have trouble communicating, maybe there are small things. Because if you're around someone, especially if it's a kid, if you're around someone for many years and you have one-on-one interactions, you can somewhat tell their moods. Even if they can't speak or do much, you can maybe tell when they're sad or when they're happy to see you, by the way they look at you, whatever. Maybe small little things that you can tell. So you can, in some ways, they communicate with you in a way other people might not necessarily recognize. And so it's possible that she may have known that the child was absolutely tired of this shit and unhappy. It may have gotten to a point where, the kid cried or, had tears, and was sad all the time, and she knew the kid was tired of it. I mean, that's possible. I wasn't there. So I'm not condemning or condoning the lady at all. But that's a tough one because, like I said, consent is a huge thing for me. But a person who can't consent, it doesn't mean that they're not still unhappy and they don't have a right to have their suffering ended or
yeah,
their life extended if they want. It's just hard to know what it is that they want. But it's possible that she knew, because sometimes when people are just done with it, you can just see it in their face. You can see they're just fucking done with it all. Like
yeah,
they can't even smile anymore. It's something that usually makes them smile. And that may have been going on for quite a while. And that could be why she did it. So that's a tough one because a person has a right to live, but they also have a right to not be miserable. And so in situations like that, I think that's really a tough one because if you extend their life, are you doing it because they have quality of life, or are you doing it so you don't look bad? That's a tough one right there. I mean, I understand that people will absolutely socially tear you apart for it if you do it, but are you ending their life because I do understand it takes emotional toll, but you got to figure out if you're doing this for the correct reasons or not. I think that's a
Yeah.
hugely important situation, because I think a lot of people in that situation, if they did decide to pick euthanasia, they would feel guilty because one, a life was gone, and also that it's over. And I think everyone feels a weird bit of relief when someone's suffering is over, and then they feel guilty that they feel that relief, because it's weird to feel relief when someone's gone. It feels weird and it feels wrong, even though it's not like it's a relief in a way that's good, if that makes any sense. Like, I was glad that my dad wasn't suffering anymore, but I felt guilty because I still wanted him there. But I wanted him there, but he would still be suffering. So, who does that benefit? Does it benefit him, or would it benefit me? You know what I mean? And so you got to, it's really only a question the person and the mom and the kid really can only answer that, I think.
Yeah.
So that is a tough one. If we open that door, we have to be careful that people aren't just, knocking off the disabled and the elderly
No.
because they're tired of it. Because remember, I told you they can go one extreme or
Yes.
the other if they're not very, very, very careful. And like I said, you were talking about Sweden and Belgium and shit like that. That's proof that shit's going just
Oh
ridiculous.
god, yeah. I mean,
And
no.
so we have to be careful.
When I said that, I mean stuff like the tumors have now grown on the bodies there by essentially a massive tumor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I forget, the kid had some kind of degenerative disease, so they were going to die anyway. The fact that they had lived as long as they did was actually surprising. And the kid was miserable. So the kid was not going to live like a long, full life. And so, I don't know if it was, I don't think it was a type of cancer. I think it was something neurological. It was some kind of neurological degeneration of some kind. I didn't, like I said, I read the article quite some time back and didn't know I was going to need to recall the information. So I'm like, crap. But the kid was born with it. And it becomes a very sticky situation when disabilities are involved, because and understandably so, there are a lot of advocacy groups for people with disabilities to prevent things like what happened in World War II. Like, we don't want people just knocked off because they happen to be disabled, because then where do you stop there? Do you do that because someone's dyslexic? Do you do something like that because someone doesn't have a leg? You know what I mean? Like, some people might
Yeah,
not stop.
there's a problem now with the abortions and Down syndrome.
I heard about that. I think that's Sweden as well, or one of the countries near there. They were talking about what a low rate they had of Down syndrome children being born. And I was like, oh, that's interesting how they manage that. And I'm like, oh, that's how they manage that. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. And the odd thing with that is a lot of, from what I have ascertained, there's a lot of people who have Down syndrome, with the proper education, actually can do fine. I mean, they may not necessarily be doctors, but I'm not a doctor either. Shit. But they can still, grocery shop on their own. They can learn to cook food on their own. They can take care of themselves. They're a little bit delayed, but oftentimes they do fine. And generally, they usually seem very happy. They actually seem to be the most lighthearted, well-spirited people. So that seems like a really, bad one to pick if they're going to start aborting. That's kind of fucked up, I think. But,
Yeah. And it is a very hard topic and a hard situation, because like you were talking about death row and everything like that, and
I think it's more
now,
protected than general population, honestly.
it is, but I am pro for certain things. I am pro death penalty for certain things.
Oddly enough, I'm kind of stuck in the knot, like, in a way, because if they've done something bad, being in jail is pretty fucking terrible, especially if you're in Oklahoma. It's really
But
terrible.
I still
There's no good jails
respect
in
your
Oklahoma or
decision
Texas.
and your choices for that. But in my opinion, there's certain things that you don't deserve to breathe for. In my opinion.
Well, I agree they don't deserve to breathe, but we also run that risk. I forget where it's at, but even someone's an atheist, like, the concept basically is that if we end a life, because everybody's at different places in this world, in chapters, and some people, they come to some kind of understanding and self-change earlier in life. Some do it later in life. We don't know when. And if you take that life from this earth, you, according to the gospel, you basically take away God's chance to do his work on that person before they die, because you don't know when the two will connect, that person and the creator. And if you take them from this earth, you take that away, because everybody takes some take longer to shape than others, and if someone's an atheist, people might not necessarily go with that, but the concept of taking someone from this earth before maybe they can be a better person before they go, we rob them of that chance as well. And a lot of people would say, well, they don't deserve it, and I kind of agree, but there are some things that are like way above our pay grade, morally and spiritually above our pay grade, that I'm kind of afraid to make those decisions on. I mean, if someone breaks into your house, I understand you're defending yourself. I get that. But there's some people who've been locked up for 20 years and they're in a cage, and then they're, especially around election time, which is kind of gross, they're lined up to be executed to win votes. I think that's disgusting. That's
That
not
is
justice.
disgusting.
They do that here. They've been on a roll trying to execute people in Oklahoma since the elections were coming up. It's disgusting. Like, that's not justice. You're doing it for political points. That's gross. That's really gross. And it's insane. And the way the justice system has handled this has absolutely made me not like the death penalty. Like I said, if someone's breaking into your house and they're trying to attack your family, well, darn, I'm sad for everybody, because dude shouldn't have broken into your house. I get it. I can't condemn somebody for protecting themselves. Certainly not. But we're dragging people who've been in a cage unarmed for 20 years out to basically make a public execution to win political points. Is really
That's what I don't agree with.
and
with the
that's what we've been
penalty.
doing, and that is one of the things that has absolutely put me off. On top of the fact that here in Oklahoma, we are apparently do not know how to get the right ratios of the drugs together, so they've been botching the executions. They either one of the people they tried to execute, it didn't kill him, made him sick. It didn't kill him. A guy named Glossett. The guy is still alive, and there's actually starting to show evidence that he might actually be innocent, because the prosecution fucked up evidence and also got rid of evidence. So that's a whole thing going on right now. So maybe he was meant to survive the execution method. But other people, what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to knock you out, and then it's a paralytic as well. And I think it's like 2 or 3 doses of stuff. It's like one is supposed to slow your. I think the final one is to stop your respiratory.
Yeah.
Apparently they're doing it wrong, so the people are basically seizing and choking and drowning in their own vomit to death.
Wait.
Is what's happening.
Question. They're stopping your respiratory. Aren't they essentially suffocating you to death?
Yes, which is also a horrible idea, because you can't move and you're suffocating to death. Yes, that is what they're doing. I think that's gross.
That is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's like tying someone up and throw them in the water and they can't move. Yeah, it's gross. I think it is very gross. I think
mean-
it should. I think they should just be given the same stuff you give like a dog that's sick. You just knock them out and be done with it. I
Yeah.
really feel that would just, because even if people say, "Oh, the prisoner doesn't deserve any better," yeah, but we're supposed to be better, because if you do really gross things to people, it changes you. And
But-
I don't want to be changed like that. I don't want to
No.
be okay with something like that. I'm sorry. Even if it's not for them, for me, I don't want to be okay with that. There's something. I mean, I'm an asshole, but I do have my limits. I really do. But yeah,
I don't think you're an asshole.
yeah. I think everybody should have their limit of what they will not do, and I kind of know where mine's at. Oh, hello, Brett. How are you? If you feel yourself that's how you were meant to die, according to the Book of Life. I mean, maybe. I mean,
According
possibly.
to some beliefs.
Well,
Other
yeah,
beliefs.
If you do it yourself, yes. I mean, I guess maybe. But
But this whole concept that you're talking about, of the taboo around it, is relatively a modern concept. Especially
yeah.
in cultures with a heavy base on honor. You have the Chinese, the Japanese, the Thai,
Right.
the ancient Irish, the Celts, Romans, Spartans, Greeks, all these cultures.
Yeah, the Catholics, I
Had-
think, are the ones that kind of rolled in the idea that you were going to get the brimstone right up the ass if you did it. And that idea has spread. And-
Yeah,
and-
I
And they say that, I do believe it said that suicide, no matter what, was bad. But I feel like
it's
there
a
should be
moral.
exceptions.
It's in the Catholic Church, it's a mortal sin. an unforgivable sin. You can't be
And
forgiven
I
for
think
it.
that freaks out a lot of people, and in some
It
cases, I think
does.
it worries families because, for instance, the concept of killing oneself is simply to do something that you know will lead to your death. And I mean, there are situations, for instance, where someone will jump on a grenade to save the people around them. They technically killed themselves, but I can't imagine them being punished for that. Like, there has to be exceptions to this. There has to be. If there's a situation where, and I'm sure it's a rare, weird, out there example, obviously, but if, hello, sorry, so, Dee just called. She's going to stay the night at Amber's because Amber wants help with the chickens. Tell Amber she's fired, but okay.
Oh, does that mean is tomorrow the day she's supposed to be your teacher too? On Thursday?
Tell her to get back here.
Tell her Amber can take her.
You tell him. I'm
Well, tomorrow.
okay. Sorry. I don't know where I was at, but that
You were
damn it.
talking that possibly on
Exceptions.
the other side. Yeah,
There might be exceptions. I mean, I have to imagine that we as people, and considering the entire, like, the whole big picture of the entire universe, we're probably pretty dumb as people, you know, in retrospect of the whole creation. If we can come up with the concept of misdemeanors and felonies, I can't imagine a creator couldn't come up with the same.
no.
So when I've heard the gospel saying things like sin is sin no matter what, I'm like, I really do not feel that messing with children is the same thing as stealing a candy bar from a store. I'm sorry. I can't get down with that. I cannot. Absolutely not. And if you stole
No.
food to feed people who were hungry, also, can't see that being like the lowest pit right there. I just
But
can't
then
see
what
that.
about if you take yourself out? Let's say just say for talk's sake that
Right.
you were married to Stephen, right? And he had 7 children.
Oh.
No, yeah, and you had 7 children. Because you want to use your real guy's name, I don't want to put that thoughts into your head, right? So
Okay.
you have 7 kids together, and it's medieval times, and things are hard and everything. If he took himself out to lighten the load of feeding or something like that,
Right.
is that a bad thing? Is that
Um,
do you? Because you're doing it for a good reason.
I get that. Oh yeah, I was gonna go with some astronomical thing where someone was gonna make you choose between your life and the other person's life. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Whoa.
That's my
What was
bad.
that?
That was me.
I thought court was in session. I was like, shit.
Sorry, no, that was my hand slipping off the mouse.
But
How
in
far off the
reason-
mouse did it fall? Holy shit.
There is a
But, okay.
debate because you mentioned the Catholic Church. There's a debate going on about purgatory.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Is
what
it
debate do they
an-
have over this?
Is it actually a proper thing, or is it
What do you mean
a?
is there a proper thing?
Okay, so basically, essentially,
Is
are
asking if
you
it's
from?
real? Is
Yeah.
that what they're asking?
Would it?
Oddly, I think it is. This would be a really weird discussion to even have, but I kind of think it is real.
Yeah. So basically,
Unless, of course, the afterlife is just this weird abandoned building where everybody's just roaming around trying to figure out shit, and that's what it is. I mean, that could be it too.
Nah, I doubt it. But so the debate comes in because Pope Leo X, which is what led up to the indulgences and led up to Martin Luther and everything like this. So
Oh,
they
God.
sold what's called the indulgences.
I've heard
Right.
about that silliness.
Yeah, which is, hey, you pay me X amount, you go to purgatory for a little bit, and straight to heaven. Now the thing is, no pope has the ability to say this.
That's where I'm at. That's why I have issues with like the concept of Catholicism. Not you or her, like not people, but the way the system is set up. Where you're telling me somebody who could easily just be as flawed as I am is telling me that God forgives me? Shouldn't I? Really? Like, how do I know? And am I supposed to bribe him to tell me that God forgives me? What?
Yeah, that's
That's where a
paying
lot
the-
of my issue comes into play.
Yeah,
and
the
again,
paying
I'm not
for
trying to
the-
be offensive to people
No,
who are
I
part of the
I
church.
get what you mean.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the audience also knows because I'm not trying to attack them and their beliefs. It's more of like the system
No,
that's
but the
been in
fact of
place.
the matter is, it's a dark stain on the church, that the indulgences.
Yeah, I would imagine so because like that's just you're basically paying someone to give you permission to do something you're not supposed to be doing. It's kind of weird. Like religion is supposed to be about
Essentially-
discipline. Religion is supposed to be
Yeah.
about discipline and self-control, not bribery. Like
But the bribery
We're
was
supposed to
essentially
conform to the religion, not the religion conform to us.
yeah. But essentially, the
so-
whole reason for the bribery was to bankroll the Crusades.
Oh, I have no doubt. Somebody always wants to bankroll some kind of war. Sorry, I got turned into a
Yeah.
hippie there. Sorry, but
No,
yeah,
no, but it's true though.
right.
I am a Catholic, and I will admit that the indulgences are like Pope
Hogwash.
Leo X is not a good man. He shouldn't have
Right.
been Pope. Like,
Yeah, there's been a few. That's probably a
oh,
lot
there's
of
more
this
than a
stuff.
few.
Hi, Kronos. Haven't
Hey,
seen you in a
Kronos,
long
been a
time.
while.
Hugs. Yeah, it's been a while.
Hey,
Hey, hi Raquel.
hey.
Yeah, yeah. Raquel doesn't necessarily have any skin in this game. I mean, she
No, I'm
she
just
knows
saying
that she's
hi
been
'cause
taught like the same as you have, but she's been lucky enough to, I think, not been touched by the effect, her or anyone really close to her, the effects of terminal illness or suicide. But she was
Yeah.
more here for moral support and hanging out. I mean, she's welcome to give her opinion on what she thinks of the situation, obviously, but yeah, she was kind of just hanging out as moral support. That's why she was letting us talk.
Here's
Usually she
here's-
tries to stay away from topics that are touchy.
yeah.
Which I get.
Right,
I mean, I
she-
understand. 'Cause everybody wants to have a happy time. Everybody wants to
So
have a
actually,
happy
she's acting as moderator for the chat.
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose. I I think moral
She's a
support
good
sounds
bean.
good too. As someone who has, wait, let me highlight Isaac real quick. As someone who was forced to read the Bible from reading age to early 20s, the Bible itself doesn't paint its God as really being as moral as he should be. Humans disobey me and punish all creation. Yeah, the way my mom described it, she said in the Old Testament he was kind of hard nosed about stuff, but after having a son, like a lot of parents, he softened up a bit. Is what my mother's
Yeah,
point
that
of view of the situation was.
that's
but yeah,
called the old school and new school teachings. Like basically, once Jesus came along, you follow him. It's called the new school, and then the Old Testament is called the old school.
Right, and I
Right.
find it interesting that people like to pick and choose what parts of that they want to use. They'll absolutely be happy to eat bottom feeders like crabs, lobsters, I guess oysters too, I suppose, and do all that, but they have no problem, like, they're like, oh, the Old Testament is old, we do New Testament. Unless we're talking about what I think is Deuteronomy, and then, let us bash people for loving someone different than us.
No,
They don't
that's
know-
Leviticus 22:18.
Leviticus. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember. My bad. Leviticus. You're right. My bad on that. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I knew it was in the Old Testament. I forgot which book. So
I had
my
to
bad.
study the Bible in school, the Catholic Bible in school, and we took tests on it. It is.
Oh, I would have failed miserably.
No,
I
I mean,
was
if,
never a
if
very
it was
studious
drilled into as
person.
much, if it was drilled into as much as it was us,
That's fair.
but
Chrono said he was almost too lazy to hit the like button.
aw. Yeah,
This
guys,
is silly.
everyone make sure you hit that like button. Like this is a very interesting topic that does need to be. It's one of the topics that I think does need to be discussed.
Yeah, I don't think this is. Yeah, this is like. Yeah, this is definitely a discussion. It's definitely not a debate because we're not saying yes or no necessarily on something. We're just
No.
kind of throwing it out there to give me our opinions on it. This channel is not going to condone or condemn anybody who volunteers for euthanasia. We do slightly frown upon teenagers who are depressed doing that though. I will have to go there on that one. That is a but
I mean,
'cause,
like,
I mean, I don't think people should have to suffer, but I mean, the amount of money, I don't know how much money they're putting into this. Someone can Google and see how much money, like, the euthanasia program in Canada is costing the taxpayers. Like, if someone wants to look that up, they can. But I really
think
feel
they
that
should
money
have
would
to
go
pay
better
for that
toward.
themselves.
I think that money should go better toward helping try to improve whatever's causing the problem. I mean, there are certain things you can't fix. Like my depression is because my parents are gone. There's really nothing anybody's gonna be able to do to fix that for me. But there are some people who are been depressed for a very long time because maybe they're lonely or they don't have anyone to talk to, and like I don't want to necessarily call them a babysitter, but maybe like assign someone who just hangs out with you, like I don't know, for at least a little while to kind of get you over the humps occasionally. You know, because some people aren't good at making friends. You know, in the real world, I probably not very good at making friends because I don't trust anybody. On the internet, I don't trust anybody, but we're expected not to trust anybody, so I don't look like an asshole for it. But
Yeah.
but in person, I don't know. I don't people very well. I really don't. I think in some ways we're a little bit like that because I think we come here to get away from those expectations.
But
of
that's
having
the
to be
thing
in
about the
person.
avatars. You can hide behind like Potato Revan is not me. Like Maya, you know, like me and things like that, my real name and different things.
Yeah, took me a second.
Potato
Yes,
Revan isn't him, if
right,
you get me. It's a character.
right. And we all play a little bit of a character on here.
Yeah. I mean, like Raquel isn't a 2 foot tall Super Saiyan cat that stands on chocolate.
No.
She's a 3 foot cat that stands on chocolate.
Yeah, we believe that she is a ragdoll cat, which I think is like a very fluffy Siamese looking thing. Very cute.
Yeah.
But
I
that
think
we're getting into the whole furry sounding conversation. Sorry. Anyway, sorry.
But
Would you?
here's a
Would you?
question
Oh,
that
yeah.
okay, so you know the way that honor-based societies, the Japanese, and the
Right.
ones we just met. One of the things that always rubbed me the wrong way is, so I'm like, okay, yeah, they did it, like for whatever reason, but is this murder? Myra, I'm your local lord, right?
Okay.
We're in an
Right.
honor society. You break the law. Law states that you have to seppuku yourself, right?
Right.
I hand you my knife. Is that murder? Did I kill you?
I actually could argue that at the very least it is conspiracy because you're conspiring with another person to end that person. Um, I think we have some cases here, either here or maybe it's England that happened, but I think it's here. There was a girl who was like talking to her boyfriend on the phone and was pushing him toward killing himself, and he did, and now she's
Yes.
and so I think I think the same moral argument is for that.
There's an entire Facebook group, Discord group. It's one group, right?
Uh-huh.
That pushes you to do it.
Wow, that is so grossly inappropriate, and I usually wouldn't call for someone to be banned off the internet, but that absolutely will do it.
Yeah, I follow a lot of true crime, and I'm like, wait, what? Because
That's
there's just
that's not my idea. If someone has a suicide support group, that is that is not what I'm picturing. Wow.
no. They give methods, they give techniques, they give the best time of day. They're like, no, what do you like when you come back? It's like, hey, I
I mean,
didn't do. They're like,
I weirdly concede that if they're not pushing you to do it, if
no, they
you're
are.
trying to find a method to where you don't screw yourself up and end up worse off than you were before,
Yeah,
I sort of get that, kind of. It's
if you come
weird.
back on, they're like, why are you still alive? You're pathetic.
Oh, that's gross. That is so gross. That be like, why are you in here? Why aren't you gone, fucker? You know?
Yeah, start with yourself.
Yeah, that's
But
gross. That
one of the
is-
best depictions of what we're talking about is, oddly enough, have you ever heard of a show called Dead Like Me?
I love that show. It was like in 2005 or something. Yeah.
Do
It's
you
on
remember
Netflix
that?
right now, I think, or
Do you
TV.
remember that there was a man who was like really depressed, because sadly because of his gender identity. But I'm not going to go into that.
Right.
Right?
I don't remember
but
that episode. But I'll have to go back and look.
He did away with himself.
Is that the one
And-
with Callum Blue?
Sorry?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, Callum Blue, the guy who played General Zod in Smallville.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that part, but yeah, they're all Grim Reapers, and they go collect people, so to speak. Well, they touch them so that way they can separate from their body when it's time. But yeah,
So he jumped off this building,
oof.
right?
Right.
And he was there, and he was going into all stuff that I'm not going to get in because I don't want to switch the subject. But
Right.
the Reaper who did it, she spent the entire time with him, and he's like, there was no light, there was nothing, and he was scared. And it's like, what's going to happen to me? He said, and she's like, I don't know, I've never seen this, right? Because what they deal with,
Right.
right? And he's there, and he was sitting down, and he was talking. Next thing, this blue light just started appearing, and he got the same heavenly entrance as everyone else, and she turned around and he started laughing. He said, I can hear a voice saying, it's okay, come over to me. And I thought that was nice, because
That,
it's
that
like,
does sound nice and comforting. It does.
and when she asked why it took so long, it said that the other side was giving him time to come to terms with what he did before
Alright.
it opened. And I thought that was one of the best depictions.
I like that. I do. I'm definitely gonna want to watch that. Like I've seen most
If
of the
you-
episodes, but I
We
think
need
there's
to
some I
party watch
missed.
it.
Oh, we should. We could probably do that. Like I don't know. I think it's got a couple of seasons, so like.
Two
We'd have to
seasons,
start
2 seasons and a movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the movie much, really. Like I don't
The movie
remember
sucked.
feeling the same way about the movie. But
But
yeah,
it was
far as-
honest
oh,
one
sorry.
of the best depictions that I've seen.
I'd be
Because
interested
usually
in seeing
when
that.
Yeah, usually when someone does that in the afterlife, they tend to like be darkness, something evil comes for 'em.
Yeah, that
or
shit
so-
scares the crap out of me. I can't watch stuff like that. That scares the shit out of me. Like I always
Yeah.
picture that part of Ghost where the bad guy gets his and they gets dragged off. That shit scares the crap out of me. Oh my god. Like
I
there's not
was
many things that
watching-
scare me, but let me tell you what, boy, that will give me a fucking nightmare. Holy shit.
I was watching this docudrama that was kind of, like where they make a TV show out of, like, instead of making a documentary, but still showing the same kind of,
I guess.
it's called a docudrama.
The
Right.
docu-series. I've seen that listing.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was watching one about ancient Egypt where they were showing the dead and, like, the gods were meant to be real and everything like this, right?
Alright.
And one of the guys, his wife and kid were both killed in an explosion.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but he couldn't live with himself. And I'm like, I don't like, because he did away with himself, and Anubis appeared in front of him. And he's like, my lord Anubis, I'm so sorry, he said. He looked and he said, I thought he was going to be forgiving to him because he wasn't in a good place. No, he looked and went, Ida! And this thing and went like that. He said, you will not be renewed. And grabbed
messed
him
up.
and dragged him down into the underworld.
That's
he
just
was
depressing. Jeez.
While his family were in the land of reeds and rivers and reeds.
That's
He was
messed up.
trapped. It is. And I'm like, I did not like that because I'm like, they should have at least showed something good. Like,
I know. Well, they probably didn't want to necessarily look like they were glorifying it either. So I mean,
No.
I kind of get that. There's like a really thin line between looking like you're condemning somebody
it was
for it in the
actually
show
terrifying.
and
There were
glorifying.
screams coming
Oh,
from
yeah,
like
that-
the
that-
doorway.
Well, I mean, they're against it. They're going to want to scare the crap out of you against the idea of it. So I mean, that makes sense. It's messed up, but I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'd want to make a show or a movie that depicts that because I'm not sure how in the world I would depict something like that without it looking one way or the other. Like,
The
yikes.
fact of the matter is, if you're making it, you're going to put in your own personal biases into it.
Well, exactly, and like I'm kind of up in the air because it's always a case by case basis, in my opinion. So
Yeah. You're also, I know, that's why I didn't say it right, Isaac. It was kind of weird because Anubis is meant to judge your heart on the whales, and it was really weird, honestly.
well, I think the issue on that one in that case is that if he felt somewhat guilty for doing it, then that would have tipped the scales. Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of it is the guilt or the feeling like you did do something wrong that will tip the scale, and that's maybe why. Because he was saying sorry because he knew he wasn't supposed to do it. And I
No,
think that's...
they didn't even give him a chance to weigh the scales or anything. It's just like
Oh,
Anubis
that's
appears in
messed
front of
up.
him,
Oh, yeah. See, that's not even right.
and the doorway to hell was behind him, and he's like, "Go."
Yeah, that's fluffed up, man. Oh, they actually
Yeah, it
have a
is.
video for this. Actually, Dying with Dignity, or I'm actually curious to see. I hope this is not a copyright situation.
It's going to be.
I don't know. They might be like a non-profit type thing, so I mean, it might not be. Well, I'll find out later, I guess.
If you had to name the leading reasons people choose to end their lives through euthanasia and physician-assisted
Can you turn it up?
suicide, what would you guess?
I don't know if I can.
Intolerable pain?
Oh,
Terminal illness? No.
Actually, let me see if, because I might have to share it with sound because the other stuff didn't require sound. I may not have checked the box on that one. So hold on, let me figure out where that is. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, what did I do with it? Let's see. Turn it up. All right. So if you're wearing headphones, people, like, hold it just in case it's a little loud.
Try loneliness, disability, and the ability to live independently. In Oregon, for example, where physician-assisted suicide has been legalized since 1997, almost 90% of those who end their lives in this way do so because of the loss of autonomy. Is it any wonder then that every major national disability organization, along with the American Medical Association and World Medical Association, consistently oppose physician-assisted suicide? The lives of those suffering from depression, disabilities, poverty, sickness, and terminal illness are put directly at risk by physician-assisted suicide. Sold as death with dignity, physician-assisted suicide delivers nothing of the kind. Instead of caring for the most vulnerable patients through competent medical care and community services, physician-assisted suicide offers death, and only death. Vulnerable people who should be helped, cared for, and loved instead feel pressured to resort to suicide based on the false promise that it will ease the burden of their loved ones and society as a whole.
That's fucked up.
And once a society accepts and normalizes this deadly practice, it isn't long before the so-called right to die becomes a duty to die. If you want to know what this looks like, consider the case of Tom Mortier. Tom hadn't given much thought to Belgium's liberal euthanasia laws. He didn't think they affected him. It seemed to Tom that if a person wanted to die, who are we to stop him? Why can't that person simply make that choice?
I mean, I get that
Besides,
point
it
too.
doesn't affect anyone else. Tom's perspective changed forever one day when his wife received a phone call. The caller was from a hospital, letting her know that they needed to take care of Tom's mother's affairs since she had been euthanized. Tom was horrified. His mother had suffered with chronic depression for more than 20 years. Yet Tom had no idea that she was going to be given a lethal injection.
That's fucked up.
Neither the oncologist who administered the injection nor the hospital informed him that euthanasia had been offered to his mother. With the help of ADF International, Tom filed an application with the European Court of Human Rights, challenging the government for failing to protect the life of his mother. Tragically, what happened to Tom and his mother isn't confined to Belgium, where at least 6 people are killed by euthanasia every day, including children for whom there is no minimum age limit. In the US, it took 20 years for the first 4 states to legalize physician-assisted suicide, a practice nearly synonymous with euthanasia. But since 2015, 6 more states, plus Washington, D.C., have joined them, and efforts to roll back protections for vulnerable lives continue to move forward in other states. As the march to legalize physician-assisted suicide has gained ground, some doctors, like Dr. Rachel DeSanto, have pushed back. Faced with a Vermont state law that would force her to, at the very least, refer patients for physician-assisted suicide, Dr. DeSanto worked with Alliance Defending Freedom to file a lawsuit that protected her rights of conscience and her patients' lives. Weaponizing state power to bully healers into violating their conscience not only flouts the Hippocratic Oath, it tramples key constitutional freedoms as well. No one should ever feel so alone, afraid, or abandoned that they ask a doctor to end their lives for them. True compassion means always caring for the sick, the elderly, and the suffering. But physician-assisted suicide can only deliver premature death. This counterfeit compassion robs victims, their families, and medical professionals of dignity and life itself. Isn't it time we reject this lethal deception and opt for life once and for all?
I
See,
think
and-
that this would.
Huh?
You want to go ahead? Sorry.
Yeah, see, and when I said they would go one extreme or the other, yeah, killing someone's mom and not even letting the family know that had come into play and letting them know, I mean, that's messed up for him to get a phone call telling they've already done it. So he didn't even have a chance to
That's
say
what
goodbye.
happened.
And that, I
with the
got
17-year-old.
She did. Her parents didn't know.
No.
Oh shit! Oh my god, that's
They don't need to
insane.
tell.
That's insane. That yeah.
I think this is
If
radical
I got a
pro-choice.
call and it was told that my daughter chose that, I would burn the building to the ground. Or actually, their individual homes. I don't necessarily want to get the hospital with other people in it. That'd be fucked up. But like the doctors who did it, I would burn their houses to the ground for it if they did that to my kid. Like, no, are you kidding? I mean, I understand it. Like, if a teenager doesn't want to talk to their parents about having depression and want to go talk to a therapist, that's one thing. But ending their life, that's another. Like, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
That's gross. That's
It was,
absolutely inappropriate.
like, it caused absolute outrage over
That
like
as it should, as it should. That's insane. I hope the parents absolutely flipped out on everybody.
they needed to. Like,
And my concern, like I said, is the fear that the doctors are going to start putting, because they were talking about the doctors saying, "Oh, the medical burden on your family. It'd be nice of you to like save them from it. Like, it should be nice of y'all to lower your prices on your bullshit. Okay, $500 for an aspirin, kiss my ass. Are you kidding me? No, like
my
the
mother
medical
is-
system wasn't so greedy. People could have probably afford the services better. It wouldn't be such a
Yeah.
burden to the family in the first place.
my entire medication for the month, thanks to our medical system, €2.50.
That is impressive. Wait, $2.50 or $250?
$2.50.
Okay, I figure I would get clarification on the 250.
If you have an off book prescription, it goes up dramatically to €4.
Dramatically to €4. Wow.
Yeah, and the politicians had to apologize for making it that price.
Ain't nobody here apologizing for jack shit to us.
But
Like,
there was a
There's
show
people
called
who have to try to
Coronation.
decide whether or not they're going to make a car payment so they can go to work or buy insulin. So, I mean,
God, that is evil.
yeah, so it's kind of insane.
There's a show over here called Coronation Street, and they had a character who's terminally ill. It's a soap opera,
Okay.
but they had a character who's terminally ill, right? And she chose to end it. She turned around and she said, "I'm going to end it on my terms."
I can understand that.
So she said to all of her friends and everything. She had a party. She like said goodbye, told them how much, but she didn't tell them what she was going to do. She was just like, "I love you so much. You've been a good friend to me." Because they'd stop her because what she's doing was illegal, right?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And they were like, "Oh, okay. So we'll see you tomorrow." And she's like, "Okay." But when she went up, she told her husband he's not allowed to touch her. He's not allowed to touch the glass. He's not allowed to touch the medication, the blanket. He had to sit on the other side of the room. And then only after calling the ambulance, after they arrived, was he allowed to touch her body. Because if his fingerprints were anywhere there,
Oh, she didn't want him getting blamed for it. Okay, I was wondering
Yeah.
what that was about. I thought you were trying to tell me she was making him stand there while, he watched and he couldn't
No.
save her. That'd be fucked up. But yeah, okay,
But-
that makes sense. Okay. That was
so
good
she
of her.
was drinking the stuff, and he was there. It was very good, right? And he was there, and I mean, I could send you the YouTube link of the scene if you want to show it.
You can
See-
you can send it to my Twitter or something or my Facebook here in a little bit.
Don't tell me what to do. But yeah, I'll send it to you here now.
Alright.
Now I have to remember her name.
Honestly, I think it sounds weird, but I think the only way to find an in between on some situation like this is to as weird as it sounds, kind of have the doctors mostly out of the situation and have advocacy groups be the one that could help facilitate that, because you got to go to a doctor for all kinds of different stuff, and you don't need your doctor hassling you about shit like this. But an advocacy group is like a third party. You'd have to go out of your way to go see them about this mess, and have it determined if after some therapy if that's the right route for you, and then proceed. I don't think you should be able to go to the doctor and just have them like do it to you. Like, no, because you got to go to the doctor for different treatments and stuff like that, and worry about having to go to your doctor and them try to be like, oh, it'd be so much easier if you just died, basically, you know, like you don't need that kind of negativity. Like if people want to end it, they should have to go to like a third party that's not connected necessarily with the doctor to see about that sort of a thing, and that they can balance, you know, advocate for your right to do whichever, whether you want to take the treatment or not take the treatment and things like that. I think that would probably be better because honestly, doctors are scandalous motherfuckers, lots of them. I think there was like a 2017 Johns Hopkins University study that doctors were the third leading cause of death in the United States. I have a feeling that that number has probably gone up in the last few years, but you know, that's a conversation.
Would love to see the number of nurses, because in true crime,
Oh shit! I want to see that actually. All right. What?
yeah, like the Angel of Death. Hey Isaac, it's a fantastic subject, Egypt mythology. But the Angel of Death and the Black Widow were both nurses.
I'm trying to find it. Oh wow, they have an article trying to say that medical error is not third leading cause of death. I saw the article. Yes, it was. They did this in 2021. Oh my god, we're not going to get into it, but I bet we know why they changed that, didn't we? Don't we?
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
But what?
because I saw the article in like 2018. I saw it. Actually, they're right by each other. Actually, so yeah, a few years later, they come in 2021. They're like, oh, that medical error isn't the third leading cause of death. Okay. It's cute you're coming in now and saying that.
I mean, I've seen things where there was a nurse who killed 200 or 150 odd people.
Sorry, they're giggling in there.
That was a random time to laugh.
I know. The door is closed too. I'll be right back. I'm gonna explain to them how inappropriate that was. Excuse me. Oh, my knee popped. Ooh.
But yeah, so what's everyone else? Well, Moira's gone. Just what's everyone else's opinion on all this? You want to show off your dog?
I don't know. He's in the kitchen right now, so
making a sandwich.
No. Just waiting for to be fed. But
yeah.
No matter how bad it is, you know, no matter how hard it gets, I would never consider doing anything like that. I'm not saying that doing that is a coward's way. Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but
no,
like it's like,
oh my god,
I understand why people do that because it can be very, very painful to live with depression, and believe me, it is. But I mean, I would never even consider doing something like that.
Understandably so. Yeah, I explained to them, and then they awkwardly busted out. Thought that was like it was such dark humor that their timing was so terrible, and I don't know if y'all can hear it. But Chris was like, "We didn't mean it like that. It wasn't related to that." I'm like, oh gosh.
But yeah, I mean,
I cannot find a statistic so far. It just talks about like a lot of nurses dying during the pandemic. It's not really giving me numbers on nurses who have killed people. So I can't. I mean, we might have to find that for like another day. But I think we've done this for an hour and a half. I think this has gone surprisingly smooth. If you are out there in the world and you were depressed, please feel free to find a. Because I think there's like.
You know, if you feel really depressed, I would, you know, speak to your therapist. They're there to help you.
Those lines are like 24 hours a day. You can talk to somebody. But sometimes it takes a while to get an appointment with a therapist.
I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
There you go.
Hold on. There we go. I can't see
some numbers.
Hold on. people might be able to see that now, maybe. So we'll leave it up there for a second or two. But yeah, yeah,
Well,
we're
I mean,
definitely not condemning people who feel depressed or anything like that and feel the need to move. Rather, you didn't do that, obviously. But
yeah,
I think this is definitely a conversation that needs to be kind of, I don't know, dealt with.
It's one that nobody is having.
Right.
And it needs
A lot of
to be
people aren't.
had. Because a lot of people nowadays are finding solace in communities like us.
Yeah.
Discord. Discord's been absolutely amazing, especially through lockdowns and things like that for me. Video games, people have made friends through video games. Everything. It's like you need to be. There is people out there. It's like you can find them. I mean, I found Myra and all you guys. I found my friends. I found everything. It's just you gotta put yourself out, say hello. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Oh, and also, like, yeah, if you Google mental health care online chat, there are certain, like, it's kind of like a crisis line you call, but you can actually do instant messaging and have conversation that way. If, for instance, like, say you're around people and you can't get up and go have that phone conversation because people are going to be around you asking you what you're doing. So you can actually just have it, like, do it on your phone and chat with them, and nobody around you has to know what you're doing. If that's something that works more for you, because sometimes people live in a house full of people and they can't get any, like, have that conversation without having someone interrupting them, and so that's also an option.
Or else when you have that patient, someone else breaks down, so you have to comfort them.
Right, exactly. And so, yes. So there's a variety of ways of doing it. There's phone calls. There's, like, the messaging app. Well, it's not even really an app. It's like a website, and you put in hit send, and they respond back to you. And so there's a few of those. I don't actually have that handy, but I wish I had thought of that. I wish I had thought that through, because then I would have had that.
Yeah. Then even churches are for other people. Kingdom halls,
Oof,
temples.
I
they
would personally
all.
avoid that one, I think, because
But I'm just saying if you're desperate.
Well, I'm actually concerned that the desperation situation would actually be worse, because if the person decides to try to scare them and tell them they're going to be condemned and this and that, that's not really comforting. That's not really supportive. Or the person might freak out and call authorities anyway. Where, like, a lot of these chat things that are anonymous, and so they can't do that to you. So you can kind of speak freely without having the authorities showing up at your front door, which would be really awkward. But yeah. So before we wrap it up, Daniel?
1 second.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fluffy.
You
That
see
is
this
very-
guy here? This
Oh,
Coco.
that's very fluffy. That looks very petable.
Mhm.
That doesn't
I
even
have to
look
go
real. It
everywhere
actually looks like a
with
little
this
stuffed
guy.
animal.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so cute. It doesn't even look
Hi,
real.
Raquel. How you doing? It's me, Coco.
The dog's
So yeah,
face is
I
like,
go
"Please, God, help me."
everywhere.
Is that
I go
your,
everywhere with this guy
is that your
because
emotional support
I
cat?
need emotional support.
Yeah, Bob is my emotional support cat, so I feel you on that.
Tom,
So
So,
that was
yeah.
Raquel.
it's also my support cat as well.
Would you like to show your support cat? Because Bob's
She-
not in here with me at the moment.
She left, but I can show a picture of her.
Okay. Well,
There she is.
it's not quite the
Super
same as like an
mode.
actual picture. Oh,
So
there she
cute.
is. There she is. Look at those
My
cute little-
pumpkin.
Look at those cute little eyes. That is so cute.
She's such a cute baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she
And
is.
I'm glad that you're charging her.
It does look like she's got a phone charger.
I know,
Okay.
she's sitting on the charger cable on my laptop.
Got to charge the cat. When his eyes turn green, it's fully charged.
Yeah, when it goes meow, 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 it's fully charged.
That is cute. Captain MKG, would you like to add anything, sir? Your pros, your cons, what you think of the conversation, anything you've got planned, whatever?
New?
He might have left the room for a second.
You know, I have a friend. I don't know if you know him. His name is Salty Trekker. Have you ever met Salty Trekker?
Oh,
I don't know.
God.
I've heard the name though.
Well, you know, okay, like he keeps on telling me, like, okay, I try to talk to him about my problems, and he kind of shuts me up. I don't know why he does that. He just shuts me up. He doesn't want to hear about it.
That
What?
is cruelty. Like I've said this to Daniel in DMs because I'm familiar with Salty Trekker.
Well, some people
And-
just don't know how to handle serious things like that. They don't know what
Oh,
to
he
say.
does, but he refuses to do anything. It's like if you don't go his beat of the drums, he don't care.
Yeah, that in itself is fucked up. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, in all fairness, also it's possible that because when someone has that conversation with somebody, if something goes bad, they might feel like it's on them somehow because that person might have been the last person they spoke to, you know, and some people aren't ready for that kind of thing. And so that might be one part of it. I mean, he might be an asshole. I'm not saying he's not an asshole. I don't know the guy.
He's a see you next Tuesday.
Oh, right on. I gotcha. But I mean, who knows?
He's a
I
what?
mean, somebody help, huh?
What'd you say? He's a what?
Oh, a see you next Tuesday. It's a euphemism
Oh.
for calling someone a cunt. And so I mean, it's quite possible. I mean, like I said, I don't know the guy, so I can't really give that opinion. But I mean, we have no shortage of assholes on
He
YouTube.
has 12,000 subscribers,
Oh,
right? And he
okay.
pulls in about 300 views
Okay, I mean, that's better. than I
because
got.
he drove everyone away. He had
I'm
a lot.
down to 300 views. That's still doing better than me. But anyway, the point is, we don't know if this guy has had run-in with some, like maybe he was somebody who's talked to and it didn't go well, and the person ended it. Like there might be a reason why he's shies away from things like this. It's all of us. People are assholes for a reason. Sometimes they're good reasons. Sometimes they're not good reasons.
Yeah.
But it might be some backstory to that. But
No,
I
but
mean,
it's-
but he should probably find a way to let someone down easily about not having that conversation instead of being like,
I've seen him doing it to other people. It's not like, oh, my friend, like, I can't cope with this, like, due to some PTSD stuff that I've come. No, it's basically near up, like, okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
why are you telling me this?
yeah, stay away from those people. Just stay away from them. They're obviously not worth talking to. Clearly, like I don't know if I would be a good person to talk to about that sort of thing. Like I think it depends on like my.
You're a
personal
bit
stuff.
too. I hope
But-
this doesn't sound bad, but you're very sweet in your own way. Like you're a very kind-hearted person. I think to talk about stuff like this, you need to talk to someone, and this is going to sound really weird, who tends to be a bit colder. Does that make sense?
A little like, but someone not too cold. It's a very thin line because you don't want to be too coddling, but you also don't want to be like hateful either. So
No.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got my limits, and if someone passes my limits, it'll go from being like, it's okay, I'm here for you, to see that door, fuck out the door, and go and get help.
Oh well, definitely be careful with that because.
No, I'm just saying it takes me a while to get to that.
I've seen you go from 0 to 100 like maybe once.
Hmm.
Like
But that was with somebody I already had reached my limit with.
right, and yeah, I think y'all both having an off night. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
we try to arrange the live streams to panels not to mix certain folks together because some people don't get along with other people on the panel, and we try to because some people are kind of wild in their own way. So like I can stream with them, but other people it might be weird.
Yeah.
It might not go so good. So
I'm not streaming this week
separated.
because tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I
yeah.
don't want to take up any vets' time by if they want to do impromptu streams, I'm going to let them do
Well,
that.
I don't think it's really taking away from their thing.
I know,
because
but
if
but a
people-
lot of my panel pool, if you will, are
Oh,
vets, and I don't
okay.
want to take away from their time.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, I plan on streaming tomorrow. Actually, I had to.
Oh hell yeah, I'll join you.
So yeah, because I'm like, if people want to be at that channel, they'll be there. Like, Yeah, you wouldn't be.
I know,
for your
but
panel
in a weird
members,
way.
for your panel members, I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah, I also, in a weird way, just wanted a week's break. Oh my god,
Right.
my baby showed
Understandable.
up.
Yeah.
Fur Papas!
Huh?
My fur
But,
baby showed up.
Oh yes, but yeah. So tomorrow's stream is this interesting topic I came across when I was looking for something to look at on the internet, and it's this odd concept of like how people have aged, and some like these days, like people who are like 40 or 50 don't look like people did back in the 80s who were like 50. They look like 80-year-old grandmas. People who are like 17 look like they were 30-year-old rock stars, and then like how people have.
But that
like,
is the weird thing.
I know, and that's what we're going to be covering. So if you want to be here, like we can talk in the chat group and bring some family pictures and show like how like a picture of you when you were like 16, and then a picture like of your parents.
I'm not going to do that, but I can show family from back in the past.
Okay, that works.
Who are also related to you.
Nice.
I've got black and white pictures and old things. You want to see like distant relatives you've never seen before?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think we should. All right, that sounds good. So, all
I
right,
like
so
historical stuff.
I will probably have to take a few pictures because otherwise holding them up like this is going to be kind of awkward. So I'll probably have to take a picture with my phone and send it to my Google Photos so I can pull it up here for everybody to see. And because I think I found a picture of me, like I think it's somewhere in this computer of me when I was like 16. And I think in a drawer in the hallway where we have a bunch of pictures, there's a picture of my dad when he was 16. It's not a very up close picture, but I think there is a high school picture. So. And there's not many pictures of my mom. My mom has like one picture when she was like 9. So that's
not asking you to show her
really...
photo, but just a weird question. Do you look at your kid's age? Do you look like her?
We would have looked like sisters, but not. She would look like a better version of me. Like her, she got good hair, good skin.
Do you ever notice that like the generations instead of aging going down, and I don't know how to say this without sounding creepy, especially with the previous statement, but every generation, right after their parents, tends to look better.
It does seem to, well, I mean, I think it skipped a generation on me, but the point is, yeah, it does. I think it has something to do. A lot of it is our environment and maybe what's in our food, but we will get into that. But I think a lot of that could play into it and the kind of life the person had. But yeah, it's like there's some pictures like from like the early 1900s and even the Depression era where people were like 30 and they still looked like flawless. It's like so.
I've seen
for whether or not a hard life. Oh, the neighbor's dog is whimpering outside. I was like, what is that sound? Okay.
Oh no, that's mine. That's mine. It's right behind me.
Oh, that's your. Oh, okay, because it sounds like it's coming from that door.
Does he want his dinner?
Yeah, Buttercup. Buttercup
something in
knows.
the kitchen.
Well, I thought it was Buttercup because neighbors are visiting, and so she likes to come over and hang out on the porch, wanting to be let in. Buttercup doesn't know she's a pit bull. She's been trained by the cats here, and so she. Yeah,
My dog still knows
I've seen Buttercup roll over and submit to my cat because she's pissed at her.
But I have a question that it's been bugging me for a long time. Should we tell Raquel that she's a cat? That she's not actually a person?
She knows she is. Anyways, but
I am a putty cat. What are you talking about?
yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on in Daniel's window, but anyway, so we love you, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Remember, if you need help, there are resources out there. Like different ones. If you really need help, just simply dial 911 and say "help me."
Oh, I'm kind of concerned because sometimes the responses have not been good. They've shown up and accidentally shooting the person.
I know, but still, at the same time, it is a resource. I know that not everyone feels the same way about it, but 911, churches, online groups. If you reach one friend, one person you know, you can say, "Help me." I saw a thing on TikTok and I thought it was actually quite nice. It said, if you know in your heart of hearts that you have one friend that you can turn around at 3:30 in the morning, that will get that if you say, please help me with no context, they will get out of bed at 3:30 in the morning and come to help you. That is a true friend, and never let them go.
Oh man, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed at some point because there's not many of those people. But please don't let it feel like it's a reflection on you. It's not.
I will be. I'm going to just chase after a puppy. Why are you naked?
Wow, you just he's like, I can't be too serious. We gotta lighten the mood. Anyways.
No, I'm sorry. My dog
welcome.
wears a baby onesie and she hasn't got it on. I'm like, why are you naked?
I can't believe you put clothes on your pet. I can't believe we're related. What the shit. Anyway, so we love everybody. Well, hello to Annie as well. And we hope to see y'all tomorrow night. I don't know what time I have this set for. I really don't. So you'll have to go to my channel and see like what time the live stream is set. 'Cause I have no idea what I set it for. I did it last
Except
night.
for tomorrow o'clock.
Tomorrow. Oh my god, my cousin is fired. Anyway, we love you all. So
Later.
Later, maters.
oh wait. Oh. Darn. I don't know how to respond to that.
You do.
We do say what I said.
You've got there's online communities you can get yourself into. There's the police will help you, churches will help you, doctors will help you, hospitals will help you. There's oaths people have to take that make them conscientious, like that they have to help people, and they will help. If you go on to an online community and just simply say help me, Twitter, Facebook, like
Facebook does have some emotional support groups. They do.
So does
that will
them
help a little bit. But
afterwards.
I gotta admit, do not be quick to call the police, and the hospital might lock you up and treat you like a criminal for feeling that way. So I know that's probably not the best take to have, but like that should be a last resort. It really should. But talking to those online anonymous chat things where they talk you through like a rough patch, and Facebook groups that are for depression, anxiety, and things like that, PTSD. They have a bunch of emotional support groups for those. Those would be a good step to going to and looking for those. But we love you all. Oh, that's just wild. Cronus never fails. Right? I do understand that because it's hard to trust anybody with that. They aren't going to use it. That's why those online chat things that are anonymous are I think are a good way of doing it, because then you can kind of say the things you're afraid of and they don't know who you are. So they can't do anything with that information. And yeah, so I hope that helps. But hugs to you, Annie, and hugs to everybody. And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow night. So.
Night.
Night.
Yeah.